Hi, welcome to ePathshala. Today we are going to discuss about the nutritional importance of proteins. The name protein is derived from the Greek word proteus, of a prime importance or the first kind. This is because proteins are the basis of cytoplasm of cells and are present in all living organisms. Proteins are the most complex materials produced in nature. Proteins are the most abundant macromolecules in living cells and constitute 50% or more of their dry weight. They are consisting of alpha amino acids linked together by peptide linkages. This module is a part of the macronutrients paper, and this deals with the structure, classification of both protein and amino acids, assessment, nutritional importance, nitrogen balance, requirements, and factors affecting the protein utilization and its deficiencies. Thus, this module will explore the learner about the nutritional importance of proteins. Hi, today we are going to discuss about the nutritional value of proteins. Now, we will discuss about the structure of protein. Proteins are complex organic nitrogenous compounds and composed of various amounts of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, and sulfur. Nitrogen is a characteristic component of proteins, forming about 16% of their weight. They are polymers of alpha amino acids and synthesized from only 20 amino acids, known as common amino acids. Polypeptides are made by polymerization of amino acids through peptide bonds. Big polypeptide chains containing more than 50 amino acids are called proteins. There are about 4 structures of protein. Primary structure determined by the sequence of amino acids. Secondary structure occurs when the amino acids are linked by hydrogen bonds. Tertiary structure formed by when alpha helix and beta plated sheets are held together by weak interactions. Quaternary structure consists of more than one polypeptide chains. Now, we will see about the classification of proteins. The knowledge about the grouping of proteins helps in better understanding of its importance in making dietary choices. Proteins can be classified based on the following factors. Classification based on sources. Based on the origin, the proteins are conventionally divided into 2 groups: animal proteins and plant proteins. The animal foods like eggs, milk, meat, and fish contribute to animal protein sources. These are proteins with a higher biological value as they are completely utilized and of a higher quality as they supply all the essential amino acids in adequate amounts. Whereas plant proteins obtained from plant foods like cereals, millets, legumes, nuts, seeds, green leafy vegetables are of lower quality and lower biological value as they lack or limit in one or more of the essential amino acids. Methionine, lysine, threonine, and tryptophan are the most common limiting amino acids. Now we will see about the classification based on nutritive value. On nutritional standpoints, proteins are classified into 3 types as follows: complete proteins, partially incomplete proteins, and incomplete proteins. What is complete proteins? The proteins that contain all the 9 essential amino acids in adequate proportion to promote growth are termed as complete proteins. Example: egg albumin, milk casein, and meat proteins are complete proteins. Partially incomplete proteins. These proteins which partially lack one or more essential amino acids and promote moderate growth are known as partially incomplete proteins. Wheat and rice proteins are limiting in amino acids lysine and threonine, hence they are under this category. Incomplete proteins: the proteins that completely lack one or more essential amino acids and do not promote the growth are incomplete proteins. Example for this is gelatin lacks trypsin, and maize protein zein lacks trypsin and lysines are the example of these incomplete proteins. Hope you got an idea about the classification of proteins. Now we will discuss about the classification of amino acids. There are about 200 amino acids found in nature. There are about 20 amino acids in a protein hydrolase. The amino acids are classified based on the chemical structure, nutritional value, and based on their metabolic fate in the body. Let us see about the chemical classification of amino acids. These amino acids are classified according to the chemical structure of the side chain are aliphatic, hydroxy, sulfur containing, aromatic, acidic, basic and amino acids. Regarding the biological classification, their amino acids are classified into essential or non-essential amino acids. Amino acids that could be synthesized in the body, so they are no need in the diet, are called as non-essential amino acids. They are glycine, alanine, serine, tyrosine, cysteine, asparagine, aspartic, glutamic acid, glutamine and proline. Amino acids that could not be synthesized in the body, so they have to be taken in the diet, are called essential amino acids, and their deficiency results in diseases also. They are valine, leucine, isoleucine, threonine, methionine, arginine, lysine, histidine, phenylalanine and tryptophan. Now we will see about the metabolic classification of amino acids. This classification was done according to their metabolic fate in the body as glycogenic amino acids that give glucose, ketogenic amino acids, the amino acids that can give ketone bodies, glycogenic or ketogenic, which we call it as mixed amino acids, which give both ketone and glucose. Yes, next we will learn about how to assess the nutritional value of proteins. There are 4 methods of assessment of protein quality. They are protein efficiency ratio, biological value, net protein utilization and chemical score. Among them, the first one is protein efficiency ratio, which is represented by the gain in the weight of the rats per gram protein ingested. So a formula is PR is equal to gain in body weight in gram divided by protein ingested. The next method of assessment of protein is biological value, which is defined as the percentage of absorbed nitrogen retained by the body, with the formula BV is equal to nitrogen retained by nitrogen absorbed into 100. For the measurement of biological value, the experimental animals, namely weaning albino rats, are chosen. They are first fed with a protein-free diet for 10 days. Then they kept on a 10% protein diet to be tested for biological value. Urine and feces are collected for both the periods, that is protein-free diet and protein diet. Nitrogen is estimated in the diet, feces and urine samples to calculate the biological value of the proteins. The third method is net protein utilization, which is a better nutritional index than the biological value. This net protein utilization can be calculated as NPU is equal to nitrogen retained divided by nitrogen absorbed into 100. The final method for assessing the protein quality is chemical score method. This is based on the chemical analysis of protein for the consumption of essential amino acids, which is then compared with the reference protein, which is nothing but an egg protein. The chemical score is defined as a ratio between the quantity of the most limiting amino acid in the test protein to the quantity of the same amino acid in the egg protein. So in the formula, chemical score can be calculated as milligram of limiting amino acid per gram of test food divided by the milligram of same amino acid per gram of egg protein into 100. Next thing we discuss here is about the nutritional importance of proteins. Protein play a significant role in overall well-being of an individual. The importance of protein in all spheres of life from consumption till death cannot be underrated. Regarding the nutritional importance, proteins are first used as a source of energy. When the diet is inadequate in carbohydrates and fat, protein are the anaerobic fuel for energy. So you know each gram of a protein provides about 4 kilocalories. The second main role in the growth and tissue maintenance. Protein plays a vital role in the cell division process. The tissues are repaired and maintained in a good state only by the action of proteins. Further, a new tissue formation and building of muscles will happen only if the good quality proteins are in a constant supply to the body. The third main role is in the structural maintenance. The collagen, a main protein of very high tensile strength, which is found in the connective tissue such as tendons, cartilage, structural matrix of bones and teeth, and cornea of the eye, is intercellular substance that binds the cells together. Collagen helps in maintaining the organs in its inherent form and position. The cell wall and the primary fibrous constituents of the cell have structural proteins. Elastin, and another important structural protein seen in the ligaments, has the elastic quality of stretching in either dimensions. The fourth role played by the protein is an essential body compounds in the formation, such as enzymes, the one that catalyze all biochemical reactions within the body. The enzymes are the proteins, mostly globular in structure and highly specific in its functions. Enzymes like urease, catalase, dehydrogenase, and the digestive enzymes are some of the enzymatic proteins. Next, it acts as a hormones. Hormones are proteins which regulate many metabolic functions and essential for the reproduction as well as growth. A known pancreatic hormones like insulin and glucagon regulate the carbohydrate metabolism. Growth hormone regulates bone growth. Adrenal hormone epinephrine is a derivative of amino acid tyrosine. Apart from that, it also acts as a neurotransmitter. The photoreceptors of the eye, which transmit the nerve signals, are responsible for the vision, are proteins. The amino acid tryptophan serves as a precursor for the formation of important neurotransmitter serotonin. Finally, it acts as a keratin also. Healthy maintenance of skin, hair, and nails need protein keratin. The fifth main role of protein is as a nutrient transport. The transport of essential nutrients from the intestine across the intestinal wall to the blood and to the tissue is carried out only by the help of proteins. These transport or carrier proteins are specific for each nutrient. The protein in hemoglobin binds and carries oxygen to the peripheral tissues as blood passes through the lungs, where it is released to participate in the process of oxidation. Lipid from liver is carried to other organs by lipoproteins in blood plasma. Copper in blood is transported by metalloprotein ceruloplasmin. Retinol is bound to and carried by retinol binding protein. The sixth role of a protein in regulation compound in fluid balance. Protein molecules help maintaining a balance between the oncotic pressure and hydrostatic pressure in the intracellular intravascular compartments. When the protein level in the blood is low, edema occurs as a result of accumulation of fluid because of the increased hydrostatic pressure, which pushes fluid out of the blood. The next function of the protein is in motility. Contractile proteins like actin and myosin provide skeletal muscle the ability to contact. Tubulin is a protein from which microtubules are built. The next role of the protein is major in defense mechanism. The lymphocytes produce the specialized proteins known as antibodies or immunoglobulins, which invade microbes or other foreign particles and protect the body from infections. The blood clotting proteins, fibrinogen and thrombin, defend from blood loss when the vascular system is impaired. The ninth, they act as a detoxification agent. The toxins from food are detoxified in the liver by the enzymes, which are nothing but proteins. Finally, the very important role of the proteins are in the pH maintenance. Proteins serve as buffers by combining with both hydrogen and hydroxide ions in the blood and thus maintaining an optimum pH. Both acidosis and alkalosis prove fatal. That's all about the importance of proteins which aid in our health maintenance. After learning that, we must know something about the nitrogen balance. In this, we have two types, positive and negative nitrogen balance. What is meant by positive nitrogen balance? This is a state in which the nitrogen intake is higher than the output. Some amount of nitrogen is retained in the body, causing a net increase in body protein. Positive nitrogen balance is observed in persons like in growing children, pregnant women, or during recovery after the serious illness. What is about negative nitrogen balance? In this, the nitrogen output is higher than the input. Some amount of nitrogen is lost from the body, depleting the body protein. Prolonged negative nitrogen balance may even lead to death. This was observed in children suffering from kwashiorkor or marasmus. Negative nitrogen balance may occur due to inadequate dietary intake of protein or destruction of tissues or serious illness. Growth hormone and insulin promote positive nitrogen balance, while corticosteroids results in negative nitrogen balance. Cancer and uncontrolled diabetes cause negative nitrogen balance. Hope we have learned major about the nitrogen balance, both positive and negative. The next concept is recommended dietary allowances. This recommended dietary allowances represents the quantities of the nutrients to be provided in the diet daily for the maintaining of good health and physical efficiency of the body. The dietary reference intake guidelines suggested that 5% to 20% of total calorie intake each day by 1 to 3-year-old children and 10 to 30% of total energy intake by 4 to 18 should be from protein. For adults, 10 to 15% of the calories should be from proteins. Proteins beyond the recommended intake are not advisable as it tends to increase the excretion of urinary calcium, thereby promoting osteoporosis. Moreover, excess protein intake increases the concentration of homocysteine in blood, and also conversion to thiolactone is increased, subsequently resulting in endothelial damage and formation of atherosclerosis. Now we'll discuss about the factors affecting the protein utilization. In addition to the quantity of protein consumed, other factors that interfere with the utilization of protein and make their consumption of limited value are listed below. The first factor is sex. The RDA for men is about 20% higher than of the women. Iron is an exception as the requirement is greater in menstruating women. Additional requirements 20 to 30% above normal are needed for pregnant and lactating women. The next parameter is an age. In general, the nutrient requirement is much higher in the growing age. For instance, the protein requirement for a growing child is about 2 gram per kg body weight per day compared to 1 gram per kg body weight per day for adults. The next factor which disturbs is amino acid ratio. The sequence or pattern of amino acids in the particular food consumed will have an impact on the growth promotion based on this individual's age. The additional factor is the physical inactivity. The body's ability to utilize protein decreases with immobility as seen in elderly who are disabled and as in the case of astronauts who lose protein due to immobility and weightlessness in the space. The another major inherent is stress. Physical stress such as injury and emotional stress like fear, anger and anxiety will always increases the nitrogen loss. The next factor is anti-nutritional factors. The protein digestibility and utility is adversely reduced by the anti-nutritional or toxic factors such as trypsin and chymotrypsin inhibitors, phytates, cyanogenic compounds, lathrogens, saponins, antivitamins and allergens present in the pulses. Cooking and processing of pulses before cooking improves utilization. The next parameter is excessive heating. Excessive heating of protein-rich foods in presence of reducing sugars especially leads to browning, reducing the protein quality. Here we learn about the protein content of common foods. Almost all foods excluding refined sugar, fats and oil contain protein to some extent. Even though milk contains lesser percentage of protein as compared to many food sources like soya bean, the quality of protein in milk and the quality of milk that can be consumed ranks it at top as good quality protein rich food. Roots and tubers, leafy vegetables and fruits are the lesser protein sources containing less than 2% of protein. Recently, unconventional protein sources like single cell protein, yeast, novel proteins like leaf protein have been developed but has not gained acceptance yet. Finally, we must know any deficiency disease occur if there is a protein deficiency. The answer is yes. They are protein energy malnutrition. This is sometimes called as protein calorie malnutrition, which is the most common nutritional disorder of the developing countries. It is prevalent in infants and preschool children. Kwashiorkor and Marasmus are the two extreme forms of protein energy malnutrition. Let us see what is Kwashiorkor, which means a sickness of the deposed child, that is a disease the child gets when the next baby is born. Kwashiorkor is predominantly found in children between 1 to 5 years of age. This is primarily due to insufficient intake of proteins, as the diet of weaning child mainly consists of carbohydrates. The clinical manifestations include stunted growth, edema, diarrhea, discoloration of hair and skin, anemia, apathy, and moon phase. Decreased plasma albumin concentration, fatty liver, deficiency of potassium due to diarrhea. Edema occurs due to lack of adequate plasma proteins to maintain water distribution between the blood and tissues. Disturbances in the metabolism of protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Several vitamin deficiencies may also occur. Plasma retinal binding protein is reduced, and the immunological response of the child to infection is very low. Regarding the treatment, ingestion of protein-rich foods or the dietary combinations to provide about 3 to 4 grams of protein per kg body weight per day will control Kwashiorkor. The treatment can be monitored by measuring the plasma albumin concentration. Disappearance of edema and gain in body weight may be observed. Hope you learn about Kwashiorkor. Let us see about what is Marasmus. Marasmus literally means to waste. It mainly occurs in children under 1 year age. Marasmus is predominantly due to the deficiency of calories. This is usually observed in children given watery gruels to supplement the mother's breast milk. Symptoms of Marasmus include growth retardation, muscle wasting, anemia, and weakness. A marasmic child does not show edema or decreased concentration of plasma albumin. To summarize this module, the different structure of proteins in depth, classification of both proteins and amino acids has been discussed in vast, which helps in knowing the importance of proteins in their day-to-day life. And this module has also explained assessing the nutritive value of proteins in detail, which help us to find out whether the animal protein is better or plant protein is better for the normal well-beings. And in this module, we have also discussed about the nutritional importance of proteins and also the recommended dietary allowances of proteins for various age groups, which gives a detailed picture among the regarding the intake of the proteins for the different age groups. And finally, we have discussed about the protein deficiency diseases, which is more prevalent among the children, and we have learned how to prevent this protein energy deficiency in the children and save our future Indians.